Live, trance, and prosper. Hi, I'm Professor Brian David Phillips, and welcome to my home. And let's jump into it, shall we? Today we're going to talk about mentioning GPTs in ChatGPT. So when you build a GPT, if you don't know how to build a GPT, why go to my other videos and find out. But essentially, once you built a GPT, you don't have to go into a specific chat for that GPT in order to use it. You can jump from GPT to GPT inside any chat by mentioning it. Why, Dr. Phillips, I do not know what you mean, you silly, silly man. Well, then let's take a look and find out. So, I'm inside my ChatGPT. You take a look around. Let's pop these up so I can see clearly. And you can see that I've got some GPTs that I designed on the side, and I can explore GPTs and do all that. When you click on your GPTs, you can always see more. So I have a lot that I've done. I've designed quite a few. But let's get to her over here. So what I want to do is let's bring this in just a little bit closer so you can see my chat just a little bit more. And let's just start a chat. So I'm not going to worry about grammar or any of that other stuff for spelling. I would like to edit conversation blueprint. Now, this is not my GPT for editing a conversation blueprint, but I'm just starting this off, and it'll say something went wrong. Let's regenerate that and see if that works. That was a weird thing. So here we go. Let's get into it. What's the specific structure and content and all that. All right, and so here we go. Now, I do have over on my left-hand side, if you take a look at my ChatGPT, you can see I do have a conversation blueprint over here and a whole bunch of others. But let's do this. So stories for discussion is something I do with my students. So I'm going to ask that I have a short story. So I'm going to hit the @ symbol. Let's get this a little closer so hopefully you can see that a little clearer. I know you're filming a web page, do me. So if I hit @ it gives me a list of my GPTs. And I can choose them. And I can go down my list. So what I want to do is I want to find my stories for discussion. There's my stories for discussion. I click this sucker. So it says talking to stories for discussion. I'm going to ask it to please write a short story of, I don't know, let's say this is just for demo purposes, so 500 words that deals with sorrow and loss and coping in a fantasy setting appropriate for junior high school students. I don't teach junior high school students, I'm just doing a demo, but I have a stories for discussion that specializes in creating stories for discussion in classes. And so let's drop that. So here we go. And it's using my stories for discussion. There you see, stories for discussion. And it's giving me a story appropriate for that level of students. Now, teachers can use this and they can do all sorts of really cool things by making sure that once you've, for instance, if you use GPTs to grade things or to give advice to students or for yourself to look at that, you could have one rubric in a GPT, and if you want to do a secondary analysis GPT, you could reference them both in regard to student work. And so my story is done, but let's say I don't just want the story, I also want to make a conversation blueprint. And conversation blueprints is an activity I usually do for nonfiction, where I have students do, well, it's essentially a series of questions that are blueprints to a conversation. So let's and EFL Convo Blueprint is my GPT for this activity. And let's just tell it, please make, and I've uploaded the format in that GPT. Please make a, actually I want two of them, 2 conversation blueprints about this story. The first, okay, so let's see, both of 20 discussion questions. In 20 questions in the blueprint format that is provided in that GPT. I have already told it what the format is. The first blueprint should be general discussion questions related to the theme and topic, while the second blueprint and I'm typing all this live right now, so what I'm getting is what I'm putting in is what I put in. So the first is for general questions, discussion questions in conversation blueprint format, while the second is related to personal experience with the theme. And this is a GPT that I built for that type of assignment, and boom, it should do the job. And here you go. Here's the discussion questions related to themes of loss, coping, and fantasy. And those are fairly okay. Obviously, if I was doing this for actual students, I would generate more questions and just pick the ones that I want and reiterate. Always remember, reiterate, reiterate, reiterate. But essentially, that's it. This is how you can just, in one conversation where I'm working on one project, I can simply mention a GPT by putting @ and then either choose from the drop down or type the name of the GPT I want to reference to. And essentially, your chat now becomes a chat with multiple agents. Your custom GPTs that allow you to shift rubrics around. Obviously, I am a university professor, so I'm thinking in terms of developing material for my students and for classwork. Whereas if you run a business, you would think in terms of, I want this rubric to deal with this type of problem in my business, and I want this GPT over here, another one, to deal with another issue. And then if I need to reference both of them, I can do that. That's so cool. And you can do it too. I just wanted to hop in and do a quickie video, and this has been a quickie video. Oh, it felt so good. Was it good for you, this little quickie we just had? Anyway, hit like, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Experiment, play with it. It's awesome. It's cool. You'll be so nifty doodles. This is Professor Brian David Phillips saying, live trans and prosper. Bye-bye.